what you'll find is that people are afraid of the paper. They got the sky bandit to handle everything. You know what I'm saying? So as the work you go and you be like, yeah, I got this. No, I'm straight. You know, so it's understandable. It's no diss. But for those of us that really want to see what the real deal is, see beyond it, way to go.
That's true.
Yeah.
So, what's next? You know what I'm saying? Like, it sounds like once you get access to all that information, all that knowledge, all that divinity, you know what I'm saying? You can do so many things. How do you stay focused? Like, what's next?
Alchemy. You need alchemy to ground yourself here, to nourish your cells, to create, like Acacia would say, bandwidth.
Okay.
Bandwidth, memory, so that you're able to go in and remember what you bring back.
That's the ultimate science. And then let's just give an example. We say mid-'80s was the beginning of the so-called computer revolution, right?
Yeah.
So you had all these young engineers and they started doing this thing called like microdosing. Let's fast forward 15 years. Let's see where Silicon Valley's at. Now this has been kept from everyday people.
Yeah.
So let's just think of what could happen. You know what I'm saying? We went from push button calculators, right, to touch screen phones with AI.
Yeah.
And it, you know, props to those people who developed it, but they'll tell you themselves, oh no, we microdose, we go to the warehouse. You know, so now you imagine what me and you doing. So we're talking about a renaissance, epic proportions, you know, New Atlantis type style, you know. No joke either, no smoke, no floating, no inflating, it's real. Like, this is some renaissance, change the world stuff.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
All right, so let's do this, right? You just told me so many things of why it's so important. So one of my purposes, I feel like with this tool that I got, is to break it down to the hard heads. You know what I'm saying? So to the young caught up on the streets, still on the block, trying to get off. What would you tell him? Like, how do you get him to shift his perspective?
Go ahead, man, I'll share.
I would say, listen, there's something on this planet that can make you superhuman.
Okay.
If that's what you want to be
Yeah.
in any area of life, financially, scholastically, physically, metaphysically, this is how you do it. This is how you do it. And don't let anyone convince you that it's not how you do it.
Yeah.
What I say to the youngins out in the block, look, everybody trying to get ahead, everybody trying to have that advantage, everybody trying to be the sharpest, the smartest, or have that secret plug, right?
Yeah.
But it's the plug. You know what I'm saying? You are the plug.
Yeah.
Don't go out looking for other people to put you on.
Yeah.
Let yourself put you on. You know, go within and you be your own plug.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And what you're doing now, you might enjoy it, but trust me, once you plug in self,
Yeah.
bro, what you doing now is, trust me, it's laughable. Food tastes better. Clothes get better. The ladies in your life love you better. Your friends are better. You know, everything is better, G. You know, so if you're really trying to get that edge, because that's what the street's about. You know what I'm saying? Get the edge. Don't be scared of the way it turns you. Because you ain't gonna be on the block long. You're gonna be so much bigger than the block. You know what I'm saying? But you gotta have a heart to grow outside.
So that kind of like makes me feel like what you saying. It's like, even if your intentions are to better yourself or what you do on a daily basis, like, once you just take that leap of faith and dive in, it'll sort of start showing you the other things that you need to do.
Show and prove. It'll be that call from Cub that you've been beefing with the last 2 years. Like, yeah, man, we need to patch this up. You know, just out the blue, like, I was just thinking about you in my session last night. It'll be that nudge that you get, you know, and it'll start you in the process.
Yeah, synchronicity recognition, pattern recognition. You'll be able to see patterns You make sense of that. You know, oh, this happened because of that, and that happened because, oh, now I know why I'm here.
Sometimes you're young, you wonder like, why? How this happened? Why is it on me? You don't see that. When you go in there, you say, oh, because of this, people that, and this, you know. That's where I messed up a long time ago. Not here. This is how I fix it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's deep. They can show you how to deal with your most complex questions. You know, some of them you facing like court issues, money issues, legal issues, women issues. Yo, this is where you go to get answers.
When you come back and it's not gonna happen, we can start it. Let's do it.
So then we actually did practice. So what you
For
said,
an hour or so. See what
you know
happens.
what I'm saying? So with the policies talking about the beef
I
over
know.
2 years, like,
But also, I gotta get
once you start to realize,
central somewhere before we.
quiet on set, quiet on set. So once you start to realize, right, that the world is much bigger than what we seen or what we are programmed to believe, how easy is it at that point to get rid of those beefs?
Well, you wanna build?
No, go ahead.
Okay. I mean, it's real easy, you know, because what you're gonna do is you're gonna mature about 5 years. You know what I'm saying? So you're gonna go from young G to old G. And you be like, come on, man, I'm trying to get this money. Or if it's about money, you like, come on, man, I got my crew, I'll be all right. It's about ladies, so it matures you, man, because we know, we done got our stripes. Ain't nothing as bad as it seems. You know what I'm saying? It usually work out when you're young, though. You're like, oh, it's the end of the world. You know what I'm saying? There ain't no options. So this is like, it'll mature you. And so what you'll realize is that most of your beef, it ain't real beef. It's a disagreement. You'll know what real beef is. You know what I'm saying? But this is more disagreement that ain't worth it. You know what I'm saying? Like, unless somebody dealing with your blood, your kin, trying to hurt, harm, bro, it ain't, you know what I'm saying? Like, your ego would be like, man, go ahead, I'm bigger than that. So kill the ego. You know what I'm saying?
So then let me ask you this, right? So it sounds like anybody who's missing that OG in their life, that father figure, that experience, because somehow through the meditation, through the entheogens, create their own experience, so they basically become their own OG through divinity.
You've never been separated from the OG. It's just that sometimes the OG don't speak loud. And so what the entheogens do is turn the voice up. So you can hear the OG inside of you. With your ear.
And you'll find yourself stepping out when you wouldn't step out. You know, like you may have been terrified of crowds. OG, like, get out there. You like, and you see yourself doing things that you could do. You know, I didn't know it. You know, and that voice like, what you thought? You know, what you got? What you thought? Somebody told you this? You know what I'm saying? So it eliminates a lot of the fear factor that keep you from doing that next step, that leap of faith. You know, once that fear is eliminated, right. People in trouble then, you know.
So speaking of that fear, like somebody big in the entertainment culture, 50, right? You know what I'm saying? He had that book, The 50th Law, and a lot of it was, like all the book was overcoming the fear. You know, him and Robert Greene after the 48 Laws of Power, right? So speaking on that fear, you know, false evidence, being real and all that stuff, how important is fear as a tool to learn and grow, but then to set aside?
You shouldn't be afraid, but you should definitely show some respect to the mushroom. If you come to the mushroom without respect, it will make you respectful. If you come respectful, it will work with you, your humility and your willingness to work with it. Absolutely.
Yeah. And then I would say that, like, you know, to be blunt, that's part of the experience. You know, that you're gonna have to face that boogeyman. You know, like most people got a boogeyman they're afraid of, whether it's the dark, it's the water, you know. And this, you gotta face that boogeyman and deal with it. Once you blast through, it's like Wizard of Oz. It's like you see the little small, we thought it was a tall giant, it's not a threat. You know? And that's the main thing. The thing that drives us to doing things that we ashamed of, not happy of, is fear. You know?
Fear is the only thing. Fear of death is what it boils down to. Even if somebody steps on your shoes and you get upset about it, it's because you have identified with the shoe. And so by stepping on the shoe and taking it from its original form, you feel like somehow you're dying. So now you're in a fight. So fear of death is ultimately, which is the ego. That's ultimately what stops you from doing anything.
And then also interestingly what it does is it puts you in touch with, I guess I wouldn't say, it puts you in touch with that, yeah, this temporary, this physical reality is temporary. So guess what? Everybody in your life you appreciate one now, right? You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't say you get like a deathly experience, but you realize like I'm greater than this physical body.
Yeah.
So these people around me, I gotta show them real love and appreciation.
Absolutely.
So, fear is an interesting word, but like you say, it teaches you more respect for life and respect for whatever you're dealing with. So it does eliminate fear, but it teaches you respect and it's the approach from the right way.
Yeah. And because there is no death.
Yeah.
And mushrooms will help you to understand that. They're lying to you. There ain't no death. Now you may not be in the form that you in now.
Yeah.
You may travel to a different place, but if you are, like Baba Kalini said, if you're real, you'll always be real. The only thing you can't do is die.
Yeah.
Yeah, like he used to say, he'll hold up a pencil, like, what is this? Well, it's a pencil. Well, what was that 20 years ago? It was a tree. Well, it's not a pencil then, is it? Well, if it was a tree 20 years ago, what was it 50 years ago? It was a seed. Well, I guess it's not a tree then. So what's really real? The only really real is your awareness, your consciousness. Anything in this room 100 years ago wasn't what it was. The only thing that's real is something that always is and always will be. It's only one thing I can think about that I know of is that little voice that don't stop. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. Everything else is phase shift. You know?
So, okay, because I'm getting so much game right here, I ain't even gonna lie. This all here for me, you know what I'm saying? So, whoever else see this, they look ahead, this for me, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So when was the first time like you could really remember connecting with that consciousness and identifying it as that as opposed to the voice on your head or the little people on your shoulders or whatever everybody programmed it to be, you know what I'm saying? When was the first time you made that distinction?
I mean, for me, it was my first experience.
Yeah.
Because when I went into that dream state, that voice that we always hearing, it was still there, but then there was another voice that was way more wise, you know what I'm saying, way more stable, way more just knowledgeable.
Yeah.
And so then I was like, let me listen to that voice, you know, as opposed to that ego, that worrying voice. What's going on? Did I leave the teapot on upstairs? Did I call back so-and-so? You know, that voice would be like, psst. And then that's when that authoritative God voice, like, look, like, and that's the type of stuff that, you know, you learn that voice sometimes you hear in your head is a deceptive coward. You know what I'm saying? It's doing whatever it can to get out the funk, you know. And so then you learn to distinguish between which voices. And I know I want to think you go crazy. But you definitely learn to distinguish that irrational, unreasonable, fearful cowardice from the reason wise God and voice that's within.
But let me just say this to what you just said, right? You don't want nobody to think it's the voices, crazy voices. You know what I'm saying? And it's crazy how culture changed the perceptions, because when Gucci Mane said, I keep on hearing voices telling me to ball, he was describing either ego or schizophrenia state, whatever it was, he tried to normalize it and make it cool, and the culture just seemed to rock with it, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, you know, with the mental health in the community, through the culture, you know what I'm saying? How can entheogens like address that and repair those things?
There's one that's observing the thoughts. So if you're hearing voices, if you're hearing these different sounds of voices, you're identifying with them.
Yeah.
But you don't have to, and that's what the entheogens will show you, that you don't have to identify them. You can sit back as a witness and observe and even label and name, like, oh, there goes my greed. Oh, there goes my father.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
that's that teacher's voice from my sixth grade.
Yeah.
And sit back and be like, oh, you know what? I can listen to all of this, but I don't have to participate.
Okay.
That's what.
You know, like, oh, that's a girl. You know what I'm saying? I remember when I remember fifth grade, I got that one.
Yeah. So I just started learning about shadow work a little bit. So is it like, should you confront any of them first before you let it chill? Or should you just let it be? You know what I'm saying? Like, give them a pass, you know what I'm saying? You steered me wrong my whole life. You fucked up voice. Do you give that voice a pass? You know what I'm
Well,
saying?
you know, you're asking me as a martial artist and as a student of Kalindi,
Yeah.
we was taught to go after it.
Okay.
And like, you see the boogeyman, run at it.
Yeah.
And so, you know, it's about actively going and repairing that weaker self, forgiving that weaker self, and building up to be stronger. Yeah, you want to actively go in and deal with that. You know? And if you don't worry, they'll come see you. You know what I'm saying? Like, you get to having all these, you know, like, I watch a lot of people, you know, and so, you know, somebody be chilling, all of a sudden now they have these paranoid thoughts about their girl. Where she at? I need to call her. And you're like, you know, you need to deal with that. And so through the rest of the night, you're wrestling with that, you know, bang, and then you realize, like, I need to let that shit go.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
And strangely, you know what I'm saying, by letting it go, that attraction, you know what I'm saying, builds, that trust builds, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because she can feel that vibe.
Right. And while that's going on, like, your brain is physically rewiring yourself. You know what I'm saying? So the saying A, B, C, D, you're like, yo, that don't work. We're gonna do A, B, D, C. You know what I'm saying? And you're physically rewiring your neural networks to work better for you. So now you don't have them jealous thoughts. No more. You secure enough to be like, oh well, I'll find enough, you know, or whatever, you know. So it will literally physically rewire your brain and your thought loops so that it serves you and not the myth that you're living. You know what I'm saying?
So when you ride that vibe, what you saying is you create the vibe that you want to ride on. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. Sometimes, you know, if you not being honest about yourself, there's stuff you've been, oh, I'm not gonna think about it. It'll come see you like, yo, oh, forget me, I'm the overeat. What's up?
Yeah.
You know, you're like, oh yeah, well, I'm the one that's always criticizing you. Like, I don't really feel like dealing with you. You gonna deal with me tonight? It's always talking smack. You know what I'm saying? So you either actively go, or you know, let it come to you. Either way, you're gonna deal with it. You know what I'm saying? And that's why you hear a lot of people like, oh no, I saw whirly birds. Why? Because you didn't want to sit your ass. So as soon as you start getting the thoughts, you're like, oh, let's go dance. Oh, let's roller skate.
Right.
Oh, let's go, you know. But the way we do it is you sit your ass still. You trip in darkness. You deal with it. You know what I'm saying? So you hear a lot of people like, oh, I did them before. Yeah, you ain't never sit your ass still. Excuse my language, I hope I'm cussing.
No, you good, man. You do whatever you want.
You go in there, you go in there, and then you know, now you're hearing them paranoid voices, or that little weaker self, or that greedy self, or that jealous self, and you're like, yo, I'm a mess. You can't do that. Deal it out. It's a battle. The greatest battle is within. You'll come on, you'll wake up like, yo, hey, I'm sorry. You know, I know I was wrong. Yo, bro, look, I got that 20 I owed you, man. You know what I'm saying? You trying to make it right when you come back, because you see your shortcomings. You ain't worried about what a man did, homeboy or neighbor. Nah, you trying to be impeccable within. And then what happens is the universe bows to you. Like, okay, we're going to start working with you since you're honest enough to refine yourself and stop blaming everybody.
So let me ask you this. I've been asking other people about ayahuasca, you know what I'm saying? What is your opinion on other entheogens, or do you just stick with the shrooms? Have you thought about it or tried it, or you like, yeah, I'm just sticking with what I do?
It's other entheogens out here. You know, not as old as the mushroom. The mushroom was giving birth to a lot of these entheogens. Like Bible would say, ayahuasca is an alchemy, or who's talking about alchemy, the mushroom. Well, I mean, that's not to say that it doesn't have its place and it's not useful. I personally haven't tried ayahuasca. I've tried a lot of other things.
Yeah.
And I would say that everything has its own signature. Some things are for one thing, some things are for another. You
Yeah.
kind of got to find your, what they call allies.
Yeah,
Like you
the
said,
ally
ally
plants,
plans.
certain plants work with you, some work with
Yeah.
you.
So the reason why I asked that, because I tried ayahuasca like 2 times, even before I did shrooms, right? I found out about Soul Quest in Orlando, and I went down there, and it opened me up to all of this, right? But I heard T.I. and Alex Jones talking about it, and that's just for example. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure that there's other people who talk about mushrooms, and it seems like people have things misconstrued about, you know what I'm saying? Like they were talking about aliens and like all this, but the way, in the context of what they were talking about, I'm not gonna say sounded like it came from fear, you know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna say that. But when you hear stuff like that, it's discouraging because when we're sitting there trying to promote these things that are healing, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes people invoke things to scare people away, you know what I'm saying? So with that being said, you know what I'm saying, and this is the last one for me, with all the stuff that we gotta deal with in the culture and stuff like that, how do we get past that and go to the entheogens? You touched on it earlier.
Well, you know, thing is, you know, not to be harsh to the celebrity culture, you know, but most celebrities, they don't have time to do no real study, work, introspection, and blessing for those that's venturing into that realm. You know? But more than 90%, they're coming from that Western, Abrahamic, Judeo-Christian, Islamic perspective, and it has limitations. So whenever you in that cultural box, you're gonna look and see your reality through that box. You know, so you're gonna say, you know, oh, I felt demons or devils, you know what I'm saying? Or, you know, anything that speaks toward that cultural paradigm. So I think it's important that when you start doing this work, you at least suspend your hardcore beliefs in those systems. Because what it'll do is it'll guide your experience. So I've had people who like went in and come out literally thinking they Jesus Christ. You know what I mean? Not because it's not everybody's birthright for Christ consciousness, because you are attached to this historical figure wearing white linen. You know what I'm saying? And so they thinking I'm Jesus the Christ, and it's like they couldn't parse to understand the Christ consciousness because they still trapped in their concepts. Or you come up thinking, you know, I'm Moses or something. You're gonna attach to your limited cultural perspective. You want to get rid of that because that's what you're going to see. You may see a profound image of beauty, but the only thing you can see is either angel or devil. You know, so it'll mess you up. And so, you know, respect to those folks, but you know, more than likely they're coming from a limited cultural perspective.
Yeah.
And they don't have the language to describe what they see. It requires research. It requires understanding how the ancients interpreted it. It requires understanding the duat realm from, you know, and all of that. A lot of celebrities don't have time for that.
They don't.
You know what I'm saying?
And it's important to understand that, well, if you're not in the game, if you don't know anything about entheogens, if you haven't experimented, then you're being left out. All the this is how you get in your cell phone and your IBM computers and your Macs. Silicon Valley is doing this. The power players in Silicon Valley are doing this. Wall Street, Hollywood. This is what is taking them to the next level. So if you're not in on that, then you behind.
You behind.
Period.
Yeah. And I just shared 2 more jewels about that. You know, like for instance, everybody talk about George Washington Carver, right? Oh, he's the peanut man. You know, people don't realize he's the #1 mycologist, mushroom expert in history to this day.
Dang.
He had more research on mushrooms than peanuts, and he's responsible for so many inventions from the mushroom. And so what they say? Oh, I talked to the plants. Why you think he talked to the plants? You know what I'm saying? You know? So these are the hidden secrets, but you know they don't share it with us. You know, and
They keeping it for themselves.
They keeping it for themselves. You know, there was another profound point I wanted to share. Man, you had spoken on something, bro. You had spoken on just your last statement.
Wall Street, Silicon Valley.
Yeah. Yeah.
Being left out.
Yeah. Yeah, and this is, you know, so when you talk about, I want y'all at home, do the research. Go find some biographies. Like study like big time luminaries that have changed the game. I guarantee you're gonna say, I had a vision.
Yeah.
Wink, wink, I had a vision. You know what I'm saying? You don't disclose these spiritual situations because people will call you crazy.
Right.
Yeah.
Especially 200 years ago, 50 years ago. You know what I'm saying? So you'll always say, oh, I had this vision.
Mhm.
I was in bed. And what you had was a DMT rush.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But
Back then they was going to have
yeah. So when you look at this December, I want you to look at all your Christmas regalia and see the mushrooms and wonder why they feel like they gotta put mushrooms everywhere. And why Disney's so in love with mushrooms. And why the movie Avatar is filled with mushrooms.
Damn.
Mario Brothers, taking mushrooms. You know, it's all based on this, but it's only for those that know. So it's a whole game being played in media where they put mushroom symbols, they do this and that. What's the #1 trading platform for Bitcoin? Mycelium. You know, and so for people who know, they're constantly like teasing people who don't know by like putting these signs and symbols in your face for people who don't know. What's the symbol for Apple computer? The bitten apple. The fruit. Listen to the bitten fruit. Yes, ask the man who started it, and he will tell you about his early psychedelic experiences which led to his inspiration. You know, and so it's not a secret, it's just that those that control and dominate us, they use it. You know, so when they say, oh, the Illuminati, the Council of Elders, yeah, well, we did Illuminati.
Yeah.
You did, and so our job is to illuminate minds.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You know, unless you want the other Illuminati to do
Yeah.
it.
Hey.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. And all your favorite video games and music was made by people you love.
Yes.
All your favorite, I guarantee you, your favorite musician, going in.
Yeah. Yeah, what they say, staff man, can't understand.
Yeah.
It's can Jordan. Yeah, they put it out there. If you know what a cap and a stem was.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Hey, the P&P fund might be psilocybin. You ain't heard that from me.
Yeah, real stuff. P-Farm.
Alright, so this is the last one for now because I'm already saying I'm definitely going to get your information because we might have to follow up on Zoom or whatever they doing now with the, you know what I'm saying, situation. COVID actually made some things a little easier because it made that more acceptable practice, you know what I'm saying? So I'll take that good with that bad, you know what I'm saying? But for everybody, because something you touched on way earlier, right, was how the self-improvement attracts so many different things. So last thing is warning with all this growth, right, all this progress, right, how you stay focused and not deviate to the fruits of the labors that's exposed to you now through this pleasure. How you stay on the good side, not the dark side of the force or whatever.
Yeah. Well, you want to, I know with me, like one of the things is, you know, they talk about the unfolding of the lotus. You know what I'm saying? What you talk about is like the opening of that divine heart chakra, man.
Yeah,
So it's like, it's hard to be fake and fraudulent. You know what I'm saying? With these plants, it makes you so 100 that it's like hard to be fake and fraudulent. Now, am I saying there ain't some out there? Yeah. But those some people that were screwed up from the get anyway. Generally speaking, if you just a normal, you know, man, woman, and you got your shortcomings, but you decent, it's hard to go back to what you were. Like, you're only moving forward. You know, it's hard to go back to some of those negative behaviors because it just don't make sense. Yeah, it don't make sense. You know?
That's true.
It's not. It don't stimulate you. It doesn't excite you. It doesn't interest you. You got more creative approaches. So you know, it's unless you purposely leave that community that's growing around you and go purposely find those people that kept you, or that you and those, you know, y'all are living at a certain vibrational level, and you purposely try to recreate that. It's very hard. Cause like it's like, okay, you taste some real fresh squeezed orange juice. The likelihood you're gonna go to Tropicana is low, you know what I'm saying? Unless you work hard at retraining yourself to do that. Yeah, that's how I feel.
Staying grounded and not falling a victim to the dark.
Yeah.
it requires some sort of spiritual practice.
Yeah,
I'm not telling you what the practice has to be, but you should have one,
yeah.
whatever it is. And that, coupled with the entheogens, is a real, that's powerful. You know, you need both.
Yeah, I'm glad he said that, because like, sometimes as your life develops, it's just part of your lifestyle, so you don't mean to say a spiritual practice. But yeah, some spiritual practice, meditation, prayer, whatever, you know, works for you, but you get your spiritual workout on,
Yeah.
so you don't get out of shape.
Yeah. All right. I said that was the last question, but just to go with the theme that I did everybody else, my closing question is, what's the American dream mean to you?
Man. Liberated Americas, South, North, and Central, how about that?
Yeah, that part.
Like a liberated Americas, not just the middle part that's hoarding all the wealth.
Yeah.
How about a borderless America from Chile to Alaska?
Wow.
Right?
Yeah,
I ain't
that part.
even think about it. They say the American dream, but they ain't never specified.
Or
You
just
South
some
American.
rich
Yeah.
You know, the game is all North America, not quite.
Yeah.
We outnumbered.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was a great answer.
Yeah.
That's what go hand in hand with everything else perfectly, man. I just want to thank y'all. For the world, how can they follow you? You know what I'm saying? Learn more what's going on, or what do you want to steer them to? Because after, I swear to God, after they watch this, if they ain't burnt out and they got all the way through, there's going to be like 1,000 things for them to do. So it's like, where can we give them more information, or where can they follow you, or the people who influenced you, or anything like that?
PHIYAWATA on the gram or the book.
For me, you'll find me Moodoo B, MOUDOUB at I-10 Education, ATEN Education 1. That's my Twitter feed. My email, I'm still getting my social media name together. I-10 Education 1, ATEN Education, number 1 at Gmail is my Gmail. So yeah, let's link it up. Hit me. Let's get to work.
Appreciate y'all.
I appreciate you.
Thank you. Peace.
Gee, this has been like the best room in the fucking place. I've just been listening to people just like dropping it, like they just dropping the gems, right? Man, you just like, you asking the right questions. You got motherfuckers like, actually, I've been thinking about it.
Oh man,
Yeah, I have been searching for you, I found it, man. I had food, I don't want to try to sit down.
Trying to get shoving all this in this tiny little window. Box, figure it out.